Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our Platinum Record spinner card. I've got all of my pieces cut out, as should you, and we're just going to jump right in here. This one shouldn't take long at all. This is going to be a great little card for a birthday or for pretty much any occasion, since the caption on the record is "You're a Classic." And we're going to begin by just putting together the card base, which is very simple. I have it here. This is my texture side here. Okay, and what we're going to do, the way that this thing folds and closes, is going to fold like this, actually. Okay, so we need to take one of the panels and put it here, and then the other one's going to go on the inside here. So technically, when it's open, both of these panels are going to go in here. Now there is a little bit of a border along the inside, so this is going to go flush here, but not all the way to the fold. Okay, so we just need to keep that in mind as we're gluing these panels down. Okay, so let's just get going here. And I'll go easy on the glue here. Don't need a lot. And this one's going to go here. So again, just use the little opening as your guide. It should be nice and flush here. You can kind of just feel to make sure that everything is aligned correctly, and that is perfect. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Get a little bit of glue here on this thin area. Okay. And get that one in place. Again, just kind of using this little round cutout as your guide for placement. We'll pop that into place. Okay, that looks great. And next, I'm going to take this piece, and this is where you can actually write your little sentiment here. Obviously, the caption is going to be here. You'll notice that there's a little T in the center of this. You want that to be right side up. So you don't want to glue it down like this where the T is upside down. You want the T right side up. And let's get the glue going on this. I'm just going to do a nice thin little line along the perimeter since we have these little cutouts. My little curly Q method is not really going to work there. Okay, that's good enough. And we do want to place this so that it's centered. We want an even border on all sides. Nice and aligned. Perfect. That's wonderful. Okay, and then we have the little record with a caption. Now initially we were going to do a print to cut, but you know, anytime we can avoid that, I say it's a good idea. So we're going to start with this black layer, and we're going to take this layer with these odd looking cutouts on it and glue that to the black layer first. So let's do that. Okay, and just pop that right on top of that first black layer and press that down. And then finally, we have the top layer here. And what you're going to want to do, I would just focus on this big circle here. You want to get that aligned with the O in the word you. And then, although it may look aligned, just make sure that the little cutout for the A as well as the R and the other A are all lined up correctly as well. So it should look like that. Okay, let's get our glue on here, and then we'll just have to be pretty careful getting this in place. I mean, it's not very difficult at all, but just need to pay attention. Okay, and I wouldn't worry about trying to get glue on every single inch of that. As long as you have just enough, you should be good. Okay, and that is perfect. We'll press that down. Okay, now also, let's see, I feel like I'm missing a piece here. Okay, no, I'm not. We have this little guy. It's going to go in the center here. There are some little score marks to help you with the centering of this piece. So we'll just throw a little bit of glue on this. Now this one here, there's two of these that are a little bit larger, so make sure that you grab the small one for the record with the caption on it. And then again, use those little guides to help you with the placement of this. Kind of playing with shadows here, or fighting with them, I should say. There we go, that looks great. And we also have two little stars that we're going to glue, and you'll notice that we do have little markers for the stars as well. So use those. The markers are essentially the cutouts to the left and to the right of one of the points of the stars. So you just want to get that lined up and just pop one of those points in between the two little markers there. Whoops. My finger must be sticky. You guys are always saying, how does Leo keep his fingers from getting sticky? Well, I don't always. Okay, there we go. And throw another dot on the other one here. Dot of glue, I should say. Just pop that in there. Doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you're in the ballpark, that looks great. Okay, now because we have that little white sandwiched in there, and because machines aren't always perfect at cutting circles, even these days, if you want, you can take a little black ink pad and just rub some black around the perimeter, not on top, just along the very side to cover up any of that white, just to make it look more like a real record, I guess. Okay, there we go. That cleaned it up. Okay, now you have four little markers here. Obviously you want your A as part of the caption on top. You can kind of use the stars to help you with the placement. Okay, so we're going to take this little record here and get that glued down using the little markers to help us with the centering. Okay, just make sure that the your A is at the top. I'd say the stars should be directly left and right. There we go. Perfect. Okay, wonderful. All right, so that looks great. Okay, so there we go. And again, it's going to fold like this. And now let's put together the two little records that are going to make up the little spinny element. And they are a little different, okay? So take a look at these, and you'll notice that we do have a series of markers on here. There's also two little like ones. They almost look like, or actually a Roman numeral 2. These are mirrored, okay? These are a mirror of each other. So you'll notice that they won't fit like this. You'll have to flip them like this for them to fit, which means that the markers on these are going to be a little bit different. So what I would do is look at the little section that has two cutouts and find the two cutouts that are next to each other. So these are going to go here, and then this one is going to go here. The reason we have these two little Roman numeral 2s is to help you with the positioning of the string that we're going to use. Okay, so just keep that in mind. This one's going to go here. So let's get that glued down. Okay. And this is like some new paper that I think we got from 12 by 12 cardstock shop. Maybe, I'm not sure. I know we'll have it in the supply list though, so you can look for that information there. All right, so we're going to line that up with the two markers for those two little cutouts there. The rest of the markers will just kind of naturally fall into place, and just push that down. Okay, and I'm going to flip it over so I don't accidentally blemish this paper. Now I didn't get the glue out all the way to the very edge on one side, so I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper and just throw a little bit of glue right on the very edge and just kind of tuck it in between these two layers and just paint a little extra glue right there and press that down just so that it looks all nice and flush. Okay, so that looks good. We'll do the same thing to the other half, the other side. Nice and easy with the glue. Again, try to make sure you get it out to the edge. We don't want that peeling away. Want everything to look nice and professional. Okay, Okay, and there's the two little markers that match up with these two little cutouts. Okay, get that nice and centered, press that down. Here we go. That looks good. Okay, I'll move this out of the way before you get glue on things that don't need glue. All right, next, we're gonna take these gold elements, in my case it's gold, and these are gonna go right in the center here, like so. I just wanna make sure that they're flush with the tips of the cutouts here. Okay. Just like that. And just line that up as accurately as you can. I'm going to use my palm to press that down so that I don't accidentally get any glue on there. My fingers are pretty clean though. Okay, that looks great. Do the same thing to the other one. And then we have a little middle piece that we'll put on there. Perfect. Press that down. There we go. Okay. And then finally, we've got this little guy. It's going to go on both records as well. Okay, we decided to go, well, I'm not sure if Ron decided, we had a conversation about it. I know that platinum records, which are this color usually, indicate more sales than a gold. I think gold is 500,000 sales and platinum is 1 million. So we went with 1 million because it's more valuable. So whoever this person is that is receiving the card, they'll probably know that, and they'll know that you think very highly of them. Now, if it's someone that you maybe don't think so highly of, you can make them a gold record or just a black one. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we need to actually sandwich these together. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, just to make sure that I get this nice and centered, is I'm actually going to use a little bit of tape just to tape it in place so it doesn't move. So I'll do the first one here, and I'll get that right where the little Roman numeral 2 is. Make sure to get that string nice and centered on there and press that down. The tape's pretty thin, so it shouldn't really mess with the gluing at all. Okay, then I'll grab another little piece of tape and just kind of hold that nice and tight and glue that down. Kind of moved a little bit. Let me redo that. Come on. Try that one more time. Just hold that down in place, and there we go. Okay. All right, so now we know the string is nice and centered. And what we can do now is apply glue to this entire thing and just get the other half of the record in place. You know, and honestly, that other side doesn't even need to be, lined up perfectly. It's okay if it's like off a little bit. And I'm not even concerned about that at all whatsoever. Okay, because as long as we have it on one side, it's fine. Okay, I'm going to press that down. Get that in there. So now what we need to do is we need to glue this to this little seam here. Okay, so let's just get this flat, like so. Okay, I want to make sure that we keep it centered. So what I would do, again, it may help to use some tape just to get it centered and keep it centered. And then we'll throw a little bit of tape on there. We'll peel it off when we're done. So I wouldn't put it on, I wouldn't press it on too hard. Just kind of pop it on there gently. We'll start on one side here. Make sure it's centered. And I'm just going to put the tape down here. very gently so that when I peel it off, it peels off easily. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, just make sure it's nice and centered. Like that. Okay, so another thing too is it's probably a good idea to use a string that is roughly the same color as the paper that you're gluing it to. This glue is going to dry mostly clear. It will obviously have a little bit of a sheen to it, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is just throw a little bit of glue right here, just a tiny little bit. You can do little dots too. I'm doing 4 at a time here, and then I'm just going to pop that right into place. Okay, and just kind of press that down. You can kind of lift it up, and it may help to just take something and prop it underneath just to lift it up so that there's a little resistance there, or pressure I should say, not resistance, and get that nice and centered. And then I would just leave this alone for a little bit and let that really get a good hold. Okay. And I'm going to take this, I'm just trying to keep this as centered as possible. And I notice that if I can just move this a little bit, that will keep it nice and centered. Okay, I'm just going to work on just this for now. Okay, and then we'll work on the other side here in just a second. I don't want to do this all in one fell swoop. Okay, in the meantime, while this is drying, I'll put this off to the side. We'll go back and do the rest of it here in a minute. Let's put our envelope together. Okay, and our envelope is made up of the main part, and then we also have this decorative flap. We have an additional little circle here that we're going to glue right in the center of this, where we have the little markers to help us with the positioning. So get that nice and centered. Whoops. It's this metallic paper is kind of slippery. Okay, that's fine. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take this and glue this like so. Okay, we have a little bit of a reveal there, a reveal here, and a reveal on the sides. But what we want to do is we're going to throw glue on this entire piece here. And we're also going to need to throw a little bit on that little treble clef there, just to make sure that that all stays in place for us. Just a few little dots here and there. Don't want to overdo it. Okay, and we can take this piece and just push it up to the score mark as far as it'll go. Make sure it's centered. Okay, I'm kind of holding it like this. And then just take this piece and press it down. And it should end up exactly where it needs to. Okay. If you have a little bit of excess glue that kind of seeped out, just press down with your finger, wipe it off. That paper is a little, it's not very forgiving. And I notice I have a little gap there. So I'm just going to take a scrap piece of paper, throw a little bit of glue on there, and just tuck it right in there. Get some glue on there and press that down. And just hold that until it's set. There we go. Beautiful little flap. Okay, and now we can take these two sides, bring them in, throw a little bit of glue right here, and right here, and close that up. Okay, and there's our envelope. Okay, so coming back to the card now, that little bit of glue that I put on there seems to be holding nicely for me. So I'm going to take this tape off, and I'm going to continue down very gently. Well, it looks like that, I kind of yanked it off before it was ready, but I think the first two that I got on there are doing okay. So I'm just going to do little dots of glue all the way down, just to reinforce it. Right along that seam, all the way to the very end. And we'll take that, holding it kind of tight, and we'll push it up against that glue there. very gently. You don't need a lot of glue in one spot. You just need a few dots throughout. And I would walk away from this for a good 10 minutes maybe, just to let that glue completely cure before you go back to it. Okay, so I'm actually going to do that. Okay, so I gave this a good 10 minutes to dry. I know that may not be convenient, but if you want it to work properly and you want it to stand the test of time, I highly recommend you do the same. And you can barely tell that there's any glue there. And plus, no one's really going to be looking at that side, but glancing at it, it looks pretty clean. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just finish this off on the other side. Okay, and again, I'm just going to do tiny little dots of glue. Let me make sure it's flowing well first. Right on that little seam there. Just tiny little dots. Try to get them right on the seam and just space them out. And then get one all the way at the bottom. And make sure that you keep this nice and tight. And get it right on that seam. And just press them down. Right onto the little bits of glue. Make sure you keep it nice and tight. Okay, kind of helps to let the card naturally pop up a little bit. Again, if you need to, you can kind of wedge a little bit of paper underneath there to hold it up. And then if you don't want to hold it, which I wouldn't want to hold it for 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be a full 10. I think you could probably get away with just 5, but definitely you can tape it down to your surface and just make sure it's making good contact with those little dots of glue. If this is too tedious for you, you can definitely use some hot glue because you know that dries a lot faster. You probably will see it a little bit more than the standard glue we're using here. But I mean, it's not the end of the world because no one's really going to be looking at the back of this. So either way, that's going to dry pretty clear, and we'll take a look at it here in about a few minutes or so. Okay, so this is probably a little premature. I kind of let it sit for about 5 minutes. I would give it another 5 just to be safe. But once you have it in place, you'll see here that it spins nice and free. You can wind it up so that when they take it out of the envelope and open it up, it'll actually spin a bunch of times for them. And then all that's left to do is just very carefully just trim off the little string there at the bottom. And the same thing at the top. Okay. I would get some more precise scissors and just clean that up. You get nice and flush with the top as well as the bottom. There we go. Okay. So that is all done. Grab my envelope. I can show you that it goes in there nicely. Okay, so again, you can take it, wind it up a few times, and then when you close it, put it in the envelope. Okay, when the recipient opens it up, they'll pop it out, open it, and the record will spin. Pretty cool, nice little feature, and definitely a cool little card. So that's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please take a moment and visit us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. And while you're there, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new product, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's the group where you'll find myself and over 40,000 other dreamers that inspire us daily. So I had a blast. I hope you did as well. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again.
Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.